everyone. Welcome to the 24th episode of the Social Good Podcast. Today we have with us Polly Dhaliwal. She is the COO of Enterprise Nation, as well as the founder of Girls in Tech and Girls in Movement and Sustainabletech.ai. Welcome, Polly.
Hi, so how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, yeah, no, happy to be here. Looking forward to talking to you today.
Yeah, so you're joining us from the UK, is that right?
Yeah, I'm based in London, where our offices are for Enterprise Nation, but often here, there, and everywhere in the UK with events and such things.
Perfect. And so, how long have you been with Enterprise Nation for?
Yeah, so I joined Enterprise Nation about 8.5, 9 years ago. So it's coming up to probably my 9th year now, end of March time. And I joined when we were roughly 4 people. I was employee number 5, and then we scaled the company, building out departments, processes, the partners we work with as well. So yeah, it's been a long journey at Enterprise Nation, but a really fun one in the most part.
Got you. So can you tell us a little bit about what Enterprise Nation does?
Yeah, sure. So Enterprise Nation is on a mission to build a more entrepreneurial society in the UK. So we want to support startups and small businesses who are looking to start, grow and scale here in the UK. And we do that in a few ways. So when they land on enterprisenation.com, our main aim is to match them with support in less than 3 clicks. And so that support could come in many forms. So that could be matching them to an advisor, matching them to an event that's happening in their local area, a curated program where we work with corporates to deliver small business support as well. And our main aim is to ensure that if you're a small business female founder, let's say a florist in London, and you're looking for funding, how can we support you in the quickest way possible? Now, Enterprise Nation is free for everyone to access. We're always strong on making sure small business support is free for our members within the community. But for us, what's really key, and it's one of our values, is always being community-led. So making sure that whatever we're doing, whether it's work with our corporate partners, our policy that we do with UK government, we're always being community first and thinking of the members and small businesses who are opening up businesses every day, but also running them every day as well.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys support mainly small businesses or more startups?
It's really a blend. So when we first started, our employee size was, I would say, on average 0 to 5, but that's now grown to say 0 to 50 in terms of employee company size specifically. So I would say when our members first started, they were startups with us. You know, when I joined, there's now small businesses who were just female, solo female founders, for example, who are now running businesses with 20 plus employees. So I feel as Enterprise Nation has grown, they've grown as well within the community. But we attract startups and small businesses because the support tends to be the same, but it might be at a different stage. So whenever a small business lands on the platform or a founder, we tend to ask them their company size, their revenue, just so we can really tailor that support that they need, because a female founder who's just starting out versus a female founder who's looking to export to the Middle East or to Asia, for example, their support is very different to a female founder looking to just simply get started and looking for funding.
I see. So, I mean, what, you guys have, support staff that caters to different entrepreneurs? How does that work?
Yeah, so in terms of our team, so we have marketing, community, programs, partnerships, and then our engineering team. I think someone else wants to join the team as well. So we have multiple people within our organisation, but the way it works is we use our data every single day that we capture on our small business members, all anonymised, to find out what they're searching for, what content they're consuming, what video content they're watching. And we look at the problems and pain points that are amongst small businesses. We then take those challenges to corporate sponsors to say, would you like to work with us to solve this business problem and land a program for our small businesses to access? So that could look like a couple of ideas that we've had and programs we've run. Uber, you probably all know, massive organisation who wanted to attract diverse entrepreneurs here in London, and they wanted to offer them grant funding. Enterprise Nation could see that access to funding was a big issue in London, so we came together and ran that campaign, and it did really well. But Enterprise Nation will run that campaign, do all the marketing, the content, the storytelling, and then land that campaign into our community of 150,000 members. We do the whole storytelling piece as well, that our small businesses can see the positive impact that a brand like Uber have had working with startups and small businesses. So in terms of our community, that's how we work with corporates, but then we also work with government. So we're always lobbying for the rights of small businesses and startups, and we work closely with the part of government called DBT, Department of Business and Trade, to always ensure that the data that we have captured, the stories from our members are really heard by UK government, just to ensure any support that they put out there is really something that businesses are looking for.
Yeah, so it seems like you guys are like pretty multifaceted as a business. How do you guys, what's your business model?
Yeah, so when we first started, we were looking to scale the community, and we were building a two-sided marketplace. So, we're a for-profit company, but our revenue model doesn't work without small businesses being a part of the community. We always knew that we wanted to keep business support free for small businesses to access, so that will always be there when a small business lands on the platform. But most of our energy and our time across the business is spent with corporates to say, and UK government to say, these are the problems that our small businesses are finding and challenges that they're having. Let's work on finding a collaborative solution to that problem and landing it in with the small businesses and startups. In terms of that model, it's just a basic revenue model that our partners pay for us to run the programs, run the campaigning, run roundtables, events, etc. But hopefully we have enough impact for those small businesses getting involved as well.
Right, but then how far? So it seems like the big companies are kind of, or the so-called partners are paying for the small businesses. So how long do the small businesses get to stay on with Enterprise Nation?
Forever, so as long as they need us, really. So because the small business support platform is free for them to access, they can stay on as long as they want. And I suppose it's our job to always constantly be asking them where they're at within their business journey and build smarter technology to always make sure that we're understanding that when they first joined 2 years ago, they were a female founder on their own, but actually we can see they've now hired someone. Okay, they might need help across website design, engineering, building out AI tools to make those processes slicker within their business. And so we're with them on that journey of whilst they're scaling their business. But of course, there's a time where they no longer need Enterprise Nation and they build out their company where they have people in marketing, sales, community growth, etc. So they no longer need us. But hopefully they then become ambassadors and support small businesses who are coming up the ranks as well.
So yeah, you guys are again very multifaceted. You guys cover everything from funding to resources to data tracking how the businesses are like how they're using up the resources efficiently and such. So how do you cover the different breadth of for example, do you guys cover many different types of business types, or are there certain sectors that you focus on?
Yeah, it's a real mix. So we often attract more creative, so food and drink brands, health and fitness, beauty and wellness brands. But actually now, as we've worked on government contracts, we now have manufacturing brands. Brands that work in hospitality, those bigger organizations who are coming to Enterprise Nation. When we first started, we only probably had maybe 7% of our business and members were in the tech sector. That's obviously kind of nearly doubled now within the community. But yeah, there's a real variety of individuals who are starting businesses. Our membership base is predominantly female founders, so over 60% of our membership are female founders. But also we attract a lot of young entrepreneurs as well who are looking to start out. They've got an idea, they have a TikTok page, they have an Instagram page, and they're not sure how to now scale that in the right way. So we have a lot of young entrepreneurs coming to us as well.
Okay, that's really great to hear. So are you guys like pretty wide reaching for the as far as like the startup scene in the UK or London?
Yeah, so we reach 1 million small businesses every year. We're really proud of that number, but it's still only a small amount of businesses. 150,000 of those are members on Enterprise Nation. But of course, there's over 5 million small businesses in the UK, so there's a lot of work to do. But for us, you know, again, for the small businesses, them being a part of Enterprise Nation, if they can find the right support and grow and scale their business and stay in business, that's a real benefit to the UK economy. So for us, as many businesses that can access what's on Enterprise Nation is really important for us. So yeah, we hope to reach more as ever.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And what incentive do the partners have to stay on?
I think for them it's building trust with a small business community. So our values at Enterprise Nation is that we're entrepreneurial, we're community led, but we're trusted. And I think that's why partners work with us, because if there's a message that they want to land within a small business community, they know that working with Enterprise Nation, our business owners, our members, they trust our voice. We try and not to be biased in any way. We try and stay neutral. We try and keep the energy positive, because being a business owner can be quite negative, can be quite, you know, spiraling with issues day to day. So we hope that we're that, you know, little percent of their day which it can be upbeat, positive, and help them solve a problem in the day. And I think corporate partners, that's a big benefit to them. And, you know, moreover, the CSR side, the corporate social responsibility side of things, is how can they help more small businesses in the UK drive the economy up? Because, you know, small businesses here in the UK make up over 95% of the economy. So I think there's a real duty of care of our corporates to help out the small businesses as well.
Wow, I had no idea that it was 95% of the UK economy. That is really really out there. I mean, that's just wild.
It's mad, isn't it? You wouldn't think it's that much, but they are you know, small businesses employ the most people here in the UK as well. So again, for us, it's how do we support those individuals, founders, entrepreneurs who are making their first hire, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but our youth unemployment rate is quite high at the moment. So for us, we want to make sure that our small businesses feel comfortable making the next hire, but also feel that financially they can afford to do that as well. So
Great.
hopefully we can create a sort of circular motion, and our small businesses can give back to young entrepreneurs coming up as well.
Great. Is the entrepreneur is the rate of starting businesses higher or lower than before?
It's definitely higher. I wrote an article for OECD, the Office of Economic Development, which cover the whole world in terms of looking at entrepreneurship, small businesses and startups. And what's really fascinating is in the UK at the moment, we have the highest unemployment rate than we've ever had before, but also we have the highest rate of small businesses and startups opening up. And I think the two connect together. Often if you're forced into a position as an individual where you can no longer pay the bills, do your day-to-day things that you could because maybe you've been made redundant or let go, often starting a business comes out of need, and you are finding something that is innovative and solving a problem for other end users or consumers. So whilst there is this negative tone in our news of the highest unemployment rate, Enterprise Nation see that as a real positive, that actually during these moments within economies all over the world, you also see this spark in innovation and exciting brands come to life. And
Exactly.
for us, it's great to see so many small businesses starting, but the failure rate is also high, which is okay. It's okay to fail. We need to make sure that more businesses have the runway to keep going as well and growing their business here in the UK. So yeah, we're trying to turn a negative into a positive.
Wow, that's really awesome to hear. Yeah, what are some challenges to helping startups and small businesses that are like native to London or I guess the UK?
Yeah, so because we reach all of the UK and the small businesses in the UK, for us, the biggest challenges we're seeing is accessing funding. There's a big gap at the moment. Female founders, we all know, less than 1% at the moment have access to investment or raise investment. But then more broader startups and small businesses, there's enough cash here in the UK, but they are unsure of where they can access it and when they can access it. So I think there's a real duty of all the finance providers and the ecosystem here in the UK to come together and provide a solution where we're really matching those small businesses and startups to the right type of funding that they need. The second would be a lack of digital skills. So outside of the London areas, I don't think they're serviced well enough to access digital tools, access digital support. So we run a program called Google AI Works and Google Digital Garages, where we're going into over 50 locations in the UK, the smaller towns, the smaller cities outside of London, Manchester, Birmingham, and really doing an intense one-day training workshop to help brands increase their marketing, their branding, their digital presence, because AI and access to AI technology is also, a big advantage, but a disadvantage to many as well. So within the UK, there is a big digital skills gap. With new emerging technologies, that's only going to increase. So we need to make sure that those who are feeling left behind already, the gap doesn't get bigger. So I would say the two key things are access to funding and access to digital skills.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, yeah, so can you talk a little bit about your work um, with Girls in Movement?
Yeah, sure. So I suppose my side hustle, I wouldn't be working at Enterprise Nation if I didn't have a side hustle. I run a not-for-profit called Girls in Movement. Girls in Movement, I'm on a personal mission to reach and educate 1 million young girls worldwide. And I suppose Girls in Movement came out of, I travelled to India with my grandma a few years ago, and we were on the plane and we were talking, and I just said to her, if you didn't get married at a young age to my granddad, they were 13 and 15, what would you have done? Where would you have gone? And she said, I would have loved to have been a teacher, but because I had a brother as well, he was put through education and I had to get married, which made me really sad because I thought, okay, this was like 60, 70 years ago, but that was just the time and that's just what happened. But then fast forward, when we get to India, I saw that this is still quite a big problem. I went to where my grandparents went to school. I went to their village schools, and the village schools often have a lack of resources. They have a lack of quality of education. I mean, the great thing is that the young kids who can't afford private education in India, they can go to these village schools, but I don't think that should be a reason to hold them back because they can't afford a private education. So for me, when I first got there, I thought there won't be this problem of people showing up to school. Surely that's just a no-brainer that after 60 years of my grandma being in education, that's changed. But actually it hasn't. And, we look at all these countries across the world who are going through extreme global circumstances like Afghanistan, like Sudan, like Yemen, and it tends to be young girls who are impacted first. They have a lack of access to education, which is the first layer that I really want to help towards solving. And I think what's really nice about Girls in Movement and what we're trying to do is we want to collaborate. We're not a charity. I really want anyone who gets involved to roll their sleeves up and help in their grassroots area. And then there's a level of access to confidence, financial confidence, ambition here in the UK for young women, young girls who are at school, I would say age 11 to 18, and they're unsure on what to do next. So often I go into schools. I've written a children's book called The Girl and Her Globe, which is all around a young girl, South Asian girl who travels the world, meets different people. And a way to position that book and to get revenue into our not-for-profit is to go into schools and talk to young children. And it's probably those moments where I learn the most about, the temperament of how young girls are feeling currently with social media, living and, trying to be ambitious within the UK. And I think there's a duty of care for me as someone who has worked in tech, who has scaled my career. I work on multiple things. I really want to help more young girls here in the UK, give them access to digital skills firstly, so they can take the next step in their career, no matter what they go on to do. Look at entrepreneurship as a potential route as well that they want to go into if they don't want to work for a small business or a corporate. But then also financial confidence. I think a lot of young women are not equipped to build their financial skills and confidence, and I think it's fundamental skills. So Girls in Movement, was built out of a passion for myself. I want to help more young girls. I feel like that's my purpose on this planet, is to do that. But I suppose what started out as something as helping young girls in village schools across the world, I actually looked a lot closer to home and thought, okay, there's a lot of work to do here in the UK as well. So I do that in my spare time. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I host a podcast and talk to female founders, and it's an important topic that I love the amount of people that champion this conversation. And I think the more people that can do it, the better the world will be.
That is super inspiring. How hands-on are you with Girls in Movement, right? Do you do this as your side hustle or?
Yeah, it's all me. So I work with some great freelancers who help me with branding. So people will help me with illustrations of the book. People will help me with marketing, and it tends to be like my friends who are helping me out if I'm busy and curating content. But this is just me at the moment. But I think when you're working on something you're really passionate about and you want to move it forward, it doesn't really feel like work. And I used to get so annoyed when I would hear people say that, but I often have ideas in the middle of the night about where I want to take Girls in Movement. And what was a simple idea with my grandma talking to me on the plane heading over to India, I think it was just really nice to take this conversation into something that I think is something quite tangible. I think going into schools and seeing young girls speak to me, young South Asian girls feeling happy that there's someone that looks like them standing up, talking in a school is really impactful. And I always say to my friends, if I don't reach 1 million, I just always feel really satisfied when I go into a school and one girl can come up to me and say, like, that was really fun, I love that, and now I want to go and explore what it means to work in tech or what it means to start a business. And for that for me is really impactful.
Are you just in South Asia and India, or are you in different countries as well with Girls in Movement?
Yeah, different countries. I don't want to limit, to different borders or anything like that. I think if I can access as many young girls anywhere and everywhere, what I've created is modules within Girls in Movement. You can sign up as a change maker or as a learner. As a learner, there are modules on financial confidence, ambition, how to start a business, and I'm building those out slowly. But as a change maker, you can download those resources. So if you're someone in anywhere in South Asia, in Africa, here in the UK, you can share that with young girls, young boys that you're working with to give them confidence and work on certain topics that are not often covered within the education system. So it's not limited to India, it's all over the world.
Yeah, I'm finding with, both your work are with Enterprise Nation and Girls in Movement is kind of like intertwined in that they're providing essential resources to people, right? Whether it's starting their business or getting like a jump start in their career or education. How do you decide like who gets to get those resources and that boost?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I think when you make things free and accessible and the barriers to entry are low, you can attract who wants that access to resources. And I think the need for Enterprise Nation, the need for Girls in Movement is similar because there are so many barriers to entry when it comes to young girls accessing education or an entrepreneur accessing business support. Both of those landscapes are confusing, they're not always transparent, and often there are financial boundaries as well. So I think that you're right to say that actually both are very similar. And I always come from the, I suppose, perspective that if you can make it lower barriers to entry and you can make it a free resource as much as you can, that is good for the end user. There is then a conversation of the value because you should always put a value on what you're offering to an end user. But I think for me, I want to be able to help as many young people as possible. And for Girls in Movement, definitely making that resource free is great. But then also from an Enterprise Nation side, the more businesses who come onto Enterprise Nation, the more data we can capture and measure, and then the more business problems we can solve with corporate partners involved as well. So yeah, hopefully that's the sort of key benefits there.
Got you, got you. Yeah. And yeah, lastly, I want to kind of touch on your Sustainabletech.ai. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's really new. So, if I'm not busy with other things, I'm super keen to make sure that within this space of AI and I suppose this rush that we're going through all over the world, I really want to create something and build something quite cool. And thankfully with this technology, you can use tools like Lovable, Google AI Studio to build something really impactful quickly, which is incredible. So. At the end of last year, I was on holiday and I was reading actually an MIT report that was looking at only 5% of the current AI projects and organizations that are out there are contributing to the UN 17 sustainability goals. And I thought, God, that's such a waste of the other 95%. The numbers might have fluctuated since then, but there's a big part of the tools that we're putting out there. Are they solving a problem on a global scale? That's what AI was scaled up to do, was to solve these problems and to save humans time so they can work on more creative and fun things. I don't always think that's how AI is being used. So I want to create a space where I'm showcasing really cool individuals or brands who have created something great in the AI space, and big corporates, educators, but also governments across the world can interact and research them as well. So an example could be the Department of Education here in the UK is looking at how to introduce AI into more schools. There's a great couple of entrepreneurs in Singapore who are doing it really well. So they would be profiled on the platform and the two can connect, and hopefully UK government can learn from a brand doing it really well in Singapore, and vice versa. There's great things that the UK are doing in the AI space, and great brands that are doing that other governments want to learn from as well. So for now, it's just a passion project. I want to showcase as many great brands doing good things in the AI space, and yeah, make sure that we're actually solving problems that we set out to do from the start.
So, I'm a little confused. Like, are you aiming to do a governance, like AI governance type of thing, or more of like the UN?
No, just showcasing. So, for example, most of these brands, they're not surfaced anywhere, so you can't search unless they have a profile or presence within Google or SEO ranking. So, how can I profile more of those brands who are creating, I suppose, solutions to solve problems, to solve social good issues, economic challenges, climate challenges, and they need a profile and a platform to be showcased. And how can I then bring corporates and UK government and wider government organisations to that platform so they can search and see these great organisations, solo entrepreneurs doing really cool things in the space.
So, is it like a directory in a sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What do you hope to like achieve with that? What is like your end goal?
Yeah, I think for me, it's more of a passion right now. And I think what I want to see is more incredible innovators who are solving real problems happening across the world, showcased and introduced to governments all over the world, corporate partners, where they're looking for that solution as well. And I hope I can bridge the gap between the two, because at the moment it's really hard unless you're surfaced, for example, you've got great content, a PR engine behind you. It's really hard when people search for, I don't know, solo entrepreneurs who are solving climate change in sub-Saharan desert, for example. You know, how do you find the individuals who are working on that? Now, most of these individual founders, they don't have budgets to do that. They're just really focused on solving that problem. So for me, I want to showcase what the work that they're doing, the great work that they're doing, and put them on a bit of a platform so that other big corporates and organizations can get in touch and speak to them.
Got you. Um, Last but not least, I kind of want to touch on like what led you to your work that you do today.
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say there's one thing that's led me to my work. I think for me, I'm always keen to work on projects which are providing an impact to the end user. I always like working with organizations who have fun, who are enjoying the journey that they're on, and I love working with really talented people, and people who are passionate about the problem they're solving in that particular space. I think a lot of hard work has probably got me to where I am. There's lots more to be done. I'm far from done yet, so I'm hoping that, you know, my end goal is working on girls in movement for the long haul. So hopefully I can do good in other organisations, Enterprise Nation, whatever it might be, in the right way, and solve problems for end users, whatever that might look like. But I wouldn't say there was one thing. I definitely think saying yes to as many things in my 20s was important, but then saying no to the right things, wrong things, should I say, in my 30s has been just as important as well. But always speaking up, I think, is really key. If you're not curious, no one will ask the questions. So you've got to be curious and ask the right questions in the right rooms, and see where that gets you. No worries.
Um, yeah, thank you so much for your time, Polly. I really appreciated your time and your just sharing your expertise and your experience with us. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And
Thank you so much.
where can we reach you, Polly? Where can the
Yeah, so
audience
you can
reach you?
find me on LinkedIn, just search Polly Dhaliwal. On Instagram, it's at Girls in Movement. And then on Twitter, it's at Girls in Movement as well. So feel free to connect with me. EnterpriseNation.com is the platform where you can access business support, and it's just at Enterprise Nation on all social channels as well.
Great. Thank you, Polly.
Thanks so much, so.